Sigmund Freud.
Start stream. Please try again. Something went wrong. Studio's already streaming. No, we're not.
I see it here.
Really?
On Rumble, second one. And look, there I am. I guess we're live.
I guess. I don't even know how it's working now. What the heck?
Oh my god. Yeah, we're live on YouTube and Rumble.
My screen still says start stream session 00.
Weed and Boys is like, there you are.
Okay. I'm not going to touch anything then.
All right. Well, we're here. We don't know how. We're going to go ahead and get started, I guess. I feel like
This is the weirdest morning.
Not AI. Not AI. I can tell you that.
Maybe all of our CIA handlers are effing up our stream.
I got made a precinct captain yesterday in the Republican Party, so yeah? I probably got assigned to Chinese handlers. What it is, you know? Okay, so we're here. Good morning, peasants. Pray the Rosary daily and Rumble. Perfect. I was getting messages from people like, "Where are you at?" Oh, look, we're live on X too. Great. Okay. What a cluster.
For real.
All right. Well,
okay, let's go.
All right, we're on. We're on. We'll do it live.
First story.
Bill O'Reilly style. Okay. So check this out. In fact, I'm going to go back. I was going to start with one video, but I'm starting with another video because it's worth it. Okay, this is a little flashback. If you've been not hiding under a rock for the last couple of years, the last decade, really, you probably heard a lot of this.
The walls feel like they are closing in.
But as the walls close in around the president,
Donald Trump feels the walls closing in.
I think this is a guy who feels like the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on him.
Because the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on the president.
Now the walls appear to be closing in.
Really kind of the walls closing in on him.
The walls are closing in because the walls are indeed closing in.
I think at this point, the walls are spinning.
The legal walls are closing in. The walls are closing in on President Trump.
The walls, meanwhile, are closing in on the President of the United States.
The walls closing in on President Donald Trump.
It appears that the walls are closing in on this president.
he feels that the walls are closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
The walls are closing in.
And the walls are closing in.
That the walls are closing in on the president.
Are the walls closing in?
The walls are closing in on the presidency.
It said as the walls.
There's at least 3 people that appear on here that are saying the walls are closing in that are currently in prison.
Yeah,
the walls are
that's the part I was like, hey, that was Avenatti.
Avenatti. Yeah, there's Avenatti. There's Senator Mendez.
Begin to close around him. The political walls closing in on him.
This is a president that feels the walls closing in.
The walls are closing in on Donald Trump.
I think the walls are finally closing in.
The walls.
The walls. The walls.
The walls.
The walls.
Walls and the walls.
The walls. The walls. The walls.
Walls
are closing in.
Closing in.
closing in.
Closing in on. Closing in.
The walls are closing in
On President Donald Trump.
He's not looking forward to any of it. He's horrified. He's just talking big. The walls are closing in, as has been said before.
I'll tell you what, when I was in prison, we'd get up in the morning and watch the news, right? And obviously over on the neutral TV, oftentimes they'd put on CNN and MSNBC. And of course, we'd flip over there from time to time. Morning Joe was on. I'll tell you, there is not a worse TV couple than Mika and Joe. Mika looks like she hates Joe. She's constantly like... rolls her eyes. She'll make a point and he'll be like, that's not right. It's like clearly a very muted relationship for TV. You know what I mean? But like as soon as they're like cut, she's probably like, not you. You could just tell they're not a happy
She
couple.
turns her agent, get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Get me out of here. So the reason I played that flashback is because for once the walls are closing in on the Democrats. Yesterday, huge announcement, monumental announcement.
But
Well, Will, good to be with you. This is coming out of the Justice Department. Fox News can confirm that Attorney General Pam Bondi today signed an order directing an unnamed U.S. federal prosecutor to take evidence to a grand jury relating to an alleged conspiracy to tie then 2016 candidate Donald Trump to the country of Russia. Now, Fox News reviewed the one-page order just hours ago signed by the Attorney General. A source familiar with the probe confirms this as well, while a DOJ spokesperson declined to comment on this report of an investigation. Fox is told Attorney General Bondi is taking the referrals from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, quote, very seriously. The spokesperson says that Bondi believes there is, quote, clear cause for deep concern, end quote, and a need for the next steps. Now, this move, Will, comes just a couple of weeks after the Director of National Intelligence, you see her right there, Tulsi Gabbard, sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department regarding what she says proves there was a conspiracy to undermine Trump's candidacy and later his first term in office. Now, to be clear today, there are no charges that have been filed, no indictments. This is incredibly early in the process. What we have here is taking evidence the Justice Department believes it has to a grand jury to secure an eventual indictment or indictments. We don't know exactly where the grand jury will meet. We don't know who will go before the grand jury, and that's by design, because grand juries determine if there's enough evidence to indict, and grand juries are secretive in the American legal system, so it's normal not to know all of the answers. Again, the DOJ declining on any comment regarding this investigation. But, Will, big news, this was signed by the Attorney General Pam Bondi today to take this evidence of an alleged conspiracy to a grand jury with the hope to get an indictment or multiple indictments. Will?
That is. Now, you might think that that's pretty straight reporting. Let's hear exactly how MSNBC reported this, because it wasn't quite so chipper. And they had a lot
First reported by Fox News. These are unsubstantiated. Some more news breaking this hour to tell you about. Attorney General Pam Bondi has ordered a grand jury investigation into the so-called Russiagate conspiracy allegations made by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. A senior Trump administration official confirms to NBC News. That investigation was first reported by Fox News. These are unsubstantiated and largely debunked allegations by the Trump administration that former President Barack Obama and his aides in the intelligence community ordered a probe into the 2016 Trump campaign's connections to Russia to ruin his chances of becoming president. The source tells NBC News that a letter signed by Pam Bondi instructs an unnamed federal prosecutor to begin presenting evidence to secure potential indictments, although it is unclear what the charges would be and exactly who the grand jury will be targeting.
Treason.
We'll stay on top of that story. Thank you for letting us into your homes. We are always so grateful to be with our email.
So much gratitude.
The walls are closing in. We'll have John Brennan on here shortly to preempt his grand jury testimony.
Yeah, and to display as much gratitude as we can to come into your homes.
So the grand jury thing, I've heard of grand juries lasting like, well, grand jury was open for a year and they renewed it. I was indicted on January 7th by a grand jury.
There you go.
So within 24 hours, they had a grand jury convened and wet ink on an indictment. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's a big step. It's definitely a big step. We're beyond the investigation stage. If you remember with Donald Trump, indictments didn't happen until 2023, starting in 2017 when they opened the Mueller investigation. You know, there was like the Manafort indictment and Papadopoulos and a couple out of the gate, but they were pretty minor. You know, they were just a lot of lawfare. So it'll be interesting to see if we get some like staffer that we've never heard of that gets indicted, and that's probably a sure sign that they flipped. You know, they're getting a deal, so they've got the indictment to kind of make it real, but I don't know, we'll see. Woohoo! Big steps, big steps. So this was kind of interesting. This is a replay clip from a couple years ago, and last night I went to the Republican Party thing and I got up and gave a little speech, and I was like, I quoted Nietzsche where he says, when you go hunting monsters, be careful that you don't become the monster you hunt. When you stare into the abyss stares back. Right. And so this idea that, like, yes, there's going to be what looks like retribution, but it's really just justice. You know, the first go round, the lawfare, what happened during the Russiagate and everything, that was the unjust use of power. Now is the just use of power. But to the untrained eye, you're going to look at it and go, oh, what? It's just one president for another. We just indicting presidents now? Not really. That's not really what's happening here. Okay. Now, keep in mind, let's go back. This is CNN, Jake Tapper himself, the guy who woke up one day and realized that Joe Biden was senile after the election. This is them talking about Hunter taking money from Ukraine and China.
Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong. 4 million in income in 2017 and 2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about what are you talking about? China.
Once you none of that, he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
that is simply
and various
not
other places.
True.
So it's from two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong.
Okay.
He wasn't wrong. He was lying his ass off.
He was lying, yes. So he took money from Ukraine, China, and Russia. And who are our big adversaries? China and Russia. And what's going on in Ukraine? A war. Oh, no. Biden's one of the best, he's most docile, nicest, genuine men ever. Whatever. Holy smokes. But
my
Trump,
wife said that his whole senility was all an act. He's like,
so?
he's just doing it as an act, as cover for all the BS.
Oh, I think he's really senile.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think he probably is too.
Yeah, I think he's really senile. I think it was a feature, though. Like what made Joe Biden great was other people got to be president.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can hide behind Joe. Oh, he's got immunity. He's got old man. He's got grandpa forgiveness. You know what I mean? Oh, grandpa, I know you didn't mean to do that. You didn't mean to send divers to destroy the Nord Stream pipeline. That wasn't on
But that
purpose.
clip that you just played was so funny because he's like, we didn't make any, my son didn't get any money from, what do you call it? China? Like, oh my gosh. Dude, you're worse at lying than my 4-year-old.
He wasn't wrong.
I know.
He was committing treason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you guys talk about Trump and some collusion with Russia. It's right here. Like right here. All right. This is Devin Nunes talking about one of the big questions with that letter that went out yesterday is we don't know what attorney is doing the grand jury and we don't know what jurisdiction. Obviously, if you're a Democrat, you want it in D.C. because your chances are highest of getting an acquittal or whatever. But
if you are a Democrat, you're probably making the case right now. Well, they shouldn't have it anywhere except for D.C. Yeah. That's where it should be.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But what they're looking at here is anywhere where the crime was committed, this grand conspiracy, it clearly extends outside of the so Florida. So that's what Devin Nunes is referring to here. Buffering. Yeah, we'll get there. They had too many fits and starts this morning. That's probably why. Yeah. All the pages are going to want to buffer. Okay.
And then there's something else that is important that I think you already know about. The raid on Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
So this continues. Same people doing the same nonsense, continue this hoax and raid Mar-a-Lago, which I believe we need to see what were they actually looking for to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
I think that's an important key. And that the statute of limitations has not run out on.
And maybe it was Russia collusion evidence.
My guess is that it was.
That's my guess.
That's a guess.
Yeah, no,
we don't know.
Yep.
But all related, all the same people. They raid Mar-a-Lago, unprecedented on the home of a former president at the time. They raid Mar-a-Lago, same people, same hoaxes, same everything, but with the power of the Justice Department, with a fake special counsel, this guy Jack Smith.
Yeah,
it
would tie it all together.
So there's all of that needs to be looked at, and hopefully justice will prevail.
So I don't know John Solomon's co-host here. She's in a lot of these things, but I always, whenever I see someone like this, I wonder, like,
she kind of has like Melania cheek lines.
Kind of. Yeah, she's a beautiful woman, but what's the, like, I rarely see her contribute much other than, yeah, oh yeah, yes. Like, is she just
desk candy?
Is she desk candy, or is she like a hard hitting journalist that's got some rewards or something that I don't know of? Because there are, I mean, admittedly, there's plenty of desk candy on TV.
Sure.
Right. Like,
well, that clip that we played a few seconds ago, I was like, hey, Jennifer Love Hewitt's a news reporter. What the heck?
Yeah. Anyways, no critique to her. I mean, she's probably a great reporter, but I wonder, to balance out John Solomon.
Yeah.
You know, let's put some eye candy next to her. Ron, I need a new producer here. I need myself a desk.
I was thinking that their show's energy was a little low. They need to come on our show.
Yeah. Okay, so then there's this. This is pretty interesting too. This is let's see, what is this one? This is a reporter, one of the White House correspondent reporters that is reporting on the breaking order about this grand jury. And again, just listen to this language. It's already been debunked. What are they doing here?
A couple of weeks ago, Hallie, when really the headlines were dominated by the Jeffrey Epstein controversy, and then the president was sort of trying to change the topic very obviously, and in many different venues was trying to bring
the Epstein, but he tried to change the topic. One day, you got the jump on him by one day. The headline wasn't Epstein. The headline was treason, but you got the jump on him by one day by releasing some stupid sketch in the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
Bring up these unsubstantiated claims about the role he argues former President Obama had in the 2016 election and trying to suppress some information that he says would have been damaging if it had come to light. And so then you had the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, come to the White House briefing room, come to the podium and try to share some of this alleged new evidence. Well, now you have the Attorney General saying that they're going to try to take that information, which, remember, they had announced a strike force to look into what they call this new evidence and try to evaluate it to see if there could be any potential criminal indictments that they would follow. And the thing that matters here is that this is basically a grand jury investigation that's being launched, but that will happen in secret. This is behind closed doors, and it's completely unclear whether it will yield anything new. It's unclear that we will ever learn anything new about it because it could be under seal, but it really does bear repeating. This is looking into something for which there is no evidence to back it up, and it's really, it seems, a politically motivated move to keep the focus on one of the president's clear political foes and talk about basically anything else.
So here is
I love how they can talk out of their ass when they don't know anything.
There's no evidence.
Joe
Biden and Hunter Biden didn't take money from China and Ukraine. Turns out they did, but there was no evidence when we reported it.
Oh yeah.
No, there was. In fact, there was a whole interview with Bob Alinsky on Fox News right before the debate. You may or may not have seen it.
Remember Bob Alinsky? Anybody?
Remember Bob Alinsky?
We remember.
Tony Bob Alinsky. So this is Van Jones. Again, the commentary yesterday was hilarious. Going through these clips, I was like, oh my goodness, these people are just, they know what's coming. They know the potential crow they could have.
Yeah.
And, going through
that's why they're circle talking so hard out their ass with no information.
Dude, going through that clip, the walls are closing. It's like 3 of them are in prison. All right. So this is Van Jones acting like, again, I can't believe we're going after political enemies.
Well, half the country believes a lot of dumb stuff, including a lot of dumb stuff that comes from Republicans, but nobody's trying to put anybody in prison over it. Listen, we live in a.
They tried to put Donald Trump in jail, man.
They tried to put Donald Trump in. You put me in jail. Taylor, went to jail because I believed in some crazy stuff that apparently I'm not so crazy anymore.
What are you talking about, Taylor?
What are you talking about, Willis?
Hold on a second. They tried to put Donald Trump in jail over stuff that he actually got indicted for.
So
Okay.
beforehand, when Republicans were like, what are you doing? You're breaking the seal on this. We don't go after former presidents, no matter how bad they are. Right? Like, come on. No, Donald Trump did those things, those 34 misdemeanors increased to felonies as 34 separate entries for the same expense, paid to an attorney, registered as legal fees. Whoa, that he's got to die in jail now.
The country went ahead and reelected him anyway. Look, my point is this. It is, in fact, the case that people believe a lot of wacky stuff in my party and in your party. That is very different from the Department of
Justice. Wacky stuff like Joe Biden's all there is the best Joe Biden we've ever had.
Yeah, when you're gaslighting the hell out of us.
He's going to beat Donald Trump like a drum.
Then they're going to put somebody in prison over it. That's a different world. We've not been in a world before. Listen, you served in the White House. I served in the White House. The idea you're going to somehow now go to jail because people misinterpreted what you did in there, I think this is very, very scary stuff. Man.
Paul Manafort, Papadopoulos, Peter Navarro, Steve Bannon.
Well, half the country believes a lot of dumb stuff, including a lot of dumb stuff that comes from Republicans, but nobody.
Yeah, we believe stupid stuff all the time. Like, like Joe Biden took money from China, crazy stuff. This is totally unsubstantiated. Like Hunter Biden has no gas experience and he's on a board of a natural gas company in Ukraine. Like we believe all kinds of dumb things.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Or like Trump's a Russian asset. Like, of course. I mean, it just makes perfect sense.
The Steele dossier is real.
Steele dossier is real. Yeah. Trump totally pees on hookers. I love Comey, Trump's response to Comey when Comey tells him, there's this compromising information, like potentially peeing on. Do I look like someone who needs prostitutes? Like, that was Trump's response. Like, what do you think I am? You coming in here acting like I need a prostitute? Like,
and if he wanted somebody to pee on him, all he'd have to do is ask some Democrat to pee. They'd happily oblige.
Funny entertainment. You notice anything new today? I got a new
microphone. Shiny.
Yes, shiny white microphone. Reviews are really good. Is my audio quality better?
Ooh, yes.
I don't know. Someone's gonna have to note in the chat. Do I sound better? Do I sound smoother?
Yeah.
I had a cough drop. Just
yep. Pew.
Yeah, I feel like you're filling me full of it here. Okay. All right. So this is another really interesting thing. I said when Donald Trump got shot by Thomas Crooks that the most we're ever really going to know is a crook shot Trump.
Right.
That's it. Like everything else is subterfuge. It's going to be buried behind national security, means and methods. We don't want anybody to breach the security again and realize how weak it was. We don't want people to get any bright ideas, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Mike Benz was on with Matt Gaetz, and he's talking about some interesting connections between Thomas Crooks and the government.
Oh.
And there's also a lot of connections between Ryan Ruth and the government. It's pretty interesting.
What do we actually know about Crooks?
Well, we're told this is a kind of OPSEC child prodigy who was a disturbed kid who managed to have better operational security than most special forces folks. We're told that he had 3 or 4 encrypted chat apps on his phone, which is the reason that the FBI seems unable to break those and disclose what is in those texts. Maybe sidebar, I'd love to know what those apps are, because if they are so good that even the FBI can't crack them, you wonder, why are they not standard use? Why were they?
Yeah, why is that not our next Houthi group chat in whatever Crooks was using?
Because I've wondered the same thing.
I want those apps.
Ryan Ruth's got apps that they can't hack. Crooks got apps that they can't. He's a high schooler. He's 18. He's got apps that the FBI and the CIA can't dump into. What are they? I want them. That's my new platform. You can find me on whatever those apps are. I'll be there. Holy cow.
Because we're told that they were based in foreign countries. One was an app based in Brussels, and also the others were offshore as well, so they're not able to be subpoenaed by a court. But the fact is what we know is that the gun range that Crooks trained at was the same one used by DHS, HSI, Homeland Security Investigations. They even planned an event, DHS there, one day after the 40-some times that Crooks was reported going to that exact gun range. If they had known, if, for example, Crooks was target shooting a picture of Donald Trump, or he had said something to an agent, the whole thing could have been kept in-house. We have whistleblower testimony that Secret Service agents that day were replaced by HSI agents because Secret Service was torn between the NATO summit and Jill Biden's trip abroad. And so HSI happens to be the exact part of DHS that played a very, very strange role in January 6th as well, recruiting undercover feds. It is now known that there were more than twice as many HSI agents from DHS involved on January 6th, embedded in the crowd, than there were FBI. So if
and when you're saying HSI, you're talking about Homeland Security Investigations.
Yes.
But the roof was sloped.
I know. Every time I see that.
So that's pretty interesting.
It's like, how do they get up there?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. The lift.
Maybe we should take a picture of my roof. No, never mind.
They can handle this slope. This high schooler could, though.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I saw a comedian do a bit about this, and it was so good. He's like, you know how the roof was sloped? It was so sloped that when they shot Crook, he didn't roll off. He just laid there.
Yeah.
It's like, duh.
Dude, I remember when that happened. I was walking down to the chow hall, and someone's like, Trump just got shot.
And you're like, oh, dang it.
And I'm like, what? And it was, I can't remember what day it was, but I couldn't skip the meal. It was too good.
Yeah.
So I went in there. I'm like, is he alive? And they're like, I think so. I was like, okay. So then I went and chowed down, and people kept coming in. I think I saw Trump got shot. And, there was blood everywhere. There was blood. And so the story kept growing. And finally, when I got back to my housing unit, I went into the TV room, and they were playing replays of it. And I was like, wow. We were just like 2 centimeters away from like 2030 being my release date, 2033 being my off probation date.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, really quick. But I realized quickly, like, we're never going to learn anything about that.
Yeah.
It could have been a lone gunman because that's what they want you to think.
Right.
But yet the connections are too strong. Same thing with Ruth. His connections are way too strong with, recruiting for Ukraine. And the whole thing is just.
Remind me who that is, because
he's the one that was at Palm Springs that was hiding in the bushes with the AK-47.
Okay.
Yep. So this is Mike Davis talking about the criminal referrals.
Well, we have particular vulnerability, do we not, for John Brennan, who testified before Congress. The allegations come from, well-placed individuals that he could have committed perjury, along with others who testified before Congress. Do you see that as one of the main charges that could come out of this grand jury?
That's one of the charges, is perjury. Another charge that I think is most likely is a conspiracy charge, maybe conspiracy against rights under 18 USC section 241. And remember, when you have an ongoing conspiracy, when you are covering up that conspiracy, the statute of limitations does not begin to start tolling. And so this is an ongoing criminal conspiracy. The people who are perpetuating this conspiracy are still covering it up. And so, again, I would say to these lawfare Democrats, lawyer up, because justice is definitely coming.
Yeah, weaponizing the intel community against a candidate or an incoming president. We've never seen anything like that before in American history, if that's what the facts end up showing. Mike?
Laura Ingraham is an interesting person. I've never been quite able to figure her out, like where her real political interests lie. She's got some of the best opening monologues and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if she's Rhino or not. I haven't quite figured her out. She's never done anything that I've thought was like offensive or anything, but sometimes she does it's time to move on line. I'm like, okay, dude, how cool is it that they're opening a grand jury? It's like, I honestly thought this would have happened like post-election 2020.
Just don't count your eggs too quick here.
Jeez. And it just goes to show politically, they really neutered Trump because he knew all of this stuff. Like he knew that Obama had set it up.
Oh, yeah.
They'd figured this all out. I remember one time he was saying, as soon as we came in and I fired James Comey, it was like rats. He said it was like everybody was coming forward with testimony and whistleblower and statements, and nobody wanted to be the guy that was involved with that went down with James Comey. But somehow they tightened that thing up. Like Rod Rosenstein and Christopher Wray came in and they just suppressed everything. So wow. There's this broke after let's see, when was it that this broke? I'm trying to think of the exact timing of this news story. I remember when it came out. Joe Biden's own Justice Department, just hours after he was dethroned by his own party, confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt treason. Okay, so right after Joe Biden stepped down from running in July of last year, this came across Fox News.
Wait for Hunter Biden back in the news, where the DOJ now argues a criminal oligarch paid off the first son to try and influence U.S. policy while President Biden was serving as VP. Some new documents out there, and Chad Pergram's seen them. He is live on Capitol Hill to take us through this story. What now in the chapter of Hunter Biden? Chad?
Bill, good morning. It's possible this could be the closest anyone has come to showing a transfer of money from overseas in exchange for potential influence over U.S. policy with Hunter Biden. Now, we've heard about Hunter Biden's ties to the Ukrainian energy firm Burisma. House investigators have probed that for months. But how about potential links to Romania? Now, prosecutors in Hunter Biden's tax case say he
Where were they
worked
not
for
making
Gabriel Popoviciu. He's a Romanian business magnate. Now, the allegation is that Hunter Biden and his business colleagues took $3 million in payments. Popoviciu faces a criminal investigation in Romania over a land deal. Special counsel David Weiss makes that very case in his filing in California. Weiss alleges they structured the deal for Hunter so it, quote, concealed the true nature of the work he was performing. Now, prosecutors say there were concerns about ramifications for President Biden. Popoviciu is expected to testify at Hunter Biden's tax evasion trial in Los Angeles that starts September 5th. He's charged with failing to pay $1.4 million in taxes over a 4-year period. The House's impeachment inquiry remains open. Republicans claim Hunter Biden sold his father as the brand and used the president for access. Bill?
You know, there's really no wonder why Hunter Biden got a pardon. The crazy thing is these news stories would surface. Hunter Biden confirmed to have taken money from China, Ukraine, Romania, Kazakhstan plays in there at some point.
It's like a European world tour.
Yeah, he's taken money all over the place. It's confirmed. There's black and white accounting records.
But we don't know the nature
IRS,
of his work.
The special prosecutor is actually charging him for these crimes through the tax side of things in open court presenting evidence. And yet it makes a 15-minute news blurb, no commentary. Maybe Jesse Waters does an opening monologue casting some shade, and they move on. They just move on. Like, hello, we couldn't move on from E. Jean Carroll and that ridiculous nonsense. We couldn't move on from Stormy Daniels and that ridiculous nonsense. We couldn't move on from the dossier and that ridiculous nonsense.
For
just
years.
non-stop smearing. But yet Joe Biden, who actually has black and white financial, I mean, all the effort they went to try to figure out if the Alpha Bank server was pinging Trump Tower. You know, and here we are like, well, here we have some tax records. And Nancy Mace gets up and goes, we went over to the Treasury to look at the flagged transactions. They were all to human traffickers. He was playing pimps that are involved in human trafficking and sex trade in Eastern Europe.
Well, that answers that. Nothing to see here.
And then on his laptop, he's got, Petrova from Ukraine that's in New York, that's at his townhouse, and he's beating her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like the receipts.
Yeah, here you go. Oh, that's Russian disinfo. You know, I mean, anything negative against a Democrat is clearly Russian disinfo.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Wow. I think that's the hardest thing for conservatives is we value our freedom so much that we're hesitant to want to get involved or like cast judgment. I see this last night in the Republican Party. They're like, the Democrats are like dictators. They force their precinct captains to do certain things. They're like, you will do this, you will do this, you must do this. They don't ask for volunteers. They say, if you're part of the party, you're assigned to show up at this lemonade part thing, or you're assigned to show up at the fair and run a booth. And and then our Republican leader for the county was like, we don't do that. I'm begging for volunteers. I'm begging for people to help. She's like, we are just voluntary. It is a different mechanism. And I think that the Democrats have figured out how to weaponize it. Every dictator figures out how to weaponize it. That's the soft underbelly of organizations like Christianity and whatever. Yeah. Their militancy, their ability to be efficient, right, overwhelms the ability of their ability to be effective, overwhelms the efficiency of, say, Christianity, or where we're all dealing in the marketplace of ideas, where it's the most efficient at getting to the truth. They don't care about that. They want to be effective in their action. And it's top down. I mean, it's, one strong federal government versus a whole bunch of strong local counties and cities. That's the Republicans. Democrats want, well, we'll just consolidate all this power. Very different mentalities. And it shows in the reporting. It shows in the fact that Republicans have just been smashed, scandal from the other side, and we just quick report, move on, quick report, move on, quick report, move on. And yeah, Mockingbird Media, maybe.
Well,
maybe these
so that's the thing
Republican
that blows
reporters
me away.
aren't really Republican.
That's the thing that blows me away is that I still have family members that will go, well, didn't you just read the news? It's like, come on, people. You're still believing the news?
Yeah, exactly. You still believe the news? Exactly. So this is John Solomon on with Steve Bannon on War Room, and Steve Bannon's take on this. He is absolutely crystal clear on what has to happen.
How do we get maniacally focused on making sure something happens here? Because I'll tell you, if we don't stick the landing on this, and when I mean landing, I mean some indictments, right, and some perp walks, you're going to lose 5 to 10% of the hardest core of the MAGA base. And I'm talking about the people that canvass, that walk these districts, that knock on doors, the Scott Pressler crowd, right? You're going to lose them. And if we lose them, I don't care if we've redistricted 12 seats. We're going to have a tough time hanging on, because people, they on this one, they think it's egregious enough, and they agree with you, and they agree with the President of the United States. This is the greatest political crime in the history of the nation, sir.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think it all rests with making sure that the Justice Department sticks this, that it resources it right, that it gets the right people in here. The great thing about the strike force, you don't need to have Senate confirmed people on a strike force. Get the best prosecutors, the best agents they can find. The roadmap has already been built. Kash Patel wrote the roadmap, the grand conspiracy case, but there's lots and lots of work that has to happen very quickly. For instance, you've got to, if you're going to bring the case in Florida, like what some people have been thinking about, you got to create the research work to see, was Jack Smith looking for Russia collusion documents when he went to Mar-a-Lago? Everybody says it, including Devin Nunes and Kash Patel, but you got to find those documents and put them out there. You've got to assign a grand jury. You got to start bringing.
I think my favorite thing is all of his bowling trophies in the background.
People in. You've got to do like what Jerry Dunleavy did this morning, which is, all right, Hillary Clinton's out there the last 5 days on a propaganda thing. This is Russian disinformation. I never approved any plan. She admitted to proving a plan. Go through her book. Go through her speeches. Go through the op-eds her staff wrote. They were so proud of what they did back in 2017. They bragged about it. That is impeachable material. That takes time to do. We have an 8,000-word story today, basically the signed confession of all of the Clinton team admitting they did this, even though now they're claiming they didn't. But that's what prosecutors also have to do. We have to demand that Pam Bondi give us regular updates so that we can not just hear that a strike force has been named, but who's on it? Where's it being worked? Where are the first subpoenas? If we don't see action, it isn't just losing 5 to 10% of the MAGA base short term, which I agree with you. You might even lose more than that, Steve. But long term, if we don't punish the behavior that we now know exists out there in its most egregious form, the temptation to do this the next time Democrats are in power is going to be enormous. You are going to handicap the future of this country and destine it to be a banana republic because the Democrats got away with it this time. That's the stakes are even higher than losing the MAGA base.
I think that's
How do
the
we
reality.
get maniacally
Like we are
focused
facing
on making
the potential for whiplash. Like if there's no justice, a lesson isn't taught, and the regime changes hands again to be a left-wing regime, I'm out. We probably would just stop broadcasting the day after the election, and we're in the wind.
Yep.
Like I see the seriousness that serious.
Yeah.
Like this is the one shot. We got 4 years. Make your voice heard. We're training AI right now by speaking on this platform. I mean, it's like you've got to do what you can do, but know what time it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
as Jesus says, when the leaves start to fall, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that winter's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
that sounds kind of crazy, but it's like, get out while you can. Get self-secure, get stable. I'm not saying run. No, now is the time to fight. Now is the time when your strokes matter. Now is the time when raising your voice counts.
Absolutely.
Now is when we can actually turn the tide back. But if it doesn't, this isn't going to get better. Because like you said, they're going to go, oh, it worked.
Yeah,
Let's do it
exactly.
again. Oh, it worked. Let's do it again.
Let's run it again.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. Like legitimately scary. I keep clipping over here on my bookmarks and it on my profile, and it shows us streaming on X. It's crystal clear, man.
Oh,
it's like crystal
nice.
clear stream. Yeah, it looks really good on X. I wonder what it looks like on the other ones. I don't watch them as we're doing them. Okay, Trump was on with CNBC, and I don't know who this news host is. I don't know his name, but he's on CNBC, so I just assume he's left, and I think they are kind of left. This is the finance guys, but he seems to he's made multiple jabs to anti-Trump people, or like, you were never Trumper, you were, So I think he's kind of either a fence rider or maybe even a little bit in the conservative camp. He was talking to Donald Trump on the phone, and again, the topic of fact checking comes up.
Oh, jeez.
This is what the media does to Donald Trump. But yet when the Republican or the Democrats, like Joe Biden saying, I didn't take money from China.
Right.
And all like no fact checking.
Remember during the debate when they were doing, real time fact checks, and Joe Biden's fact that were just like, oh, everything's good.
Yeah. Oh, no, that never tells a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
This is the response rate over the last 10.
So he's addressing the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the response rate that they've gotten over the years. And you can see it's getting worse and worse. So the labor statistics by default, given less and less response, is going to get worse and worse.
12 years for the BLS, the household survey. It's dropped from 90% or so on time down to 60 and sometimes even lower. It's arguably the most important number we get about the economy. Yesterday, we had Wharton professor Jeremy Siegel.
Given everything we know, if you can track employment, that's like the only barometer that really matters, because money's not real. There's no gold or silver. So it's all about the flow. So if people have a job, they're in the flow. So it's like the most important thing. As long as people are in the flow of money, then at least they have some money to barter and exchange. Okay. So the fact that that number is slipping, the credibility, we don't know anything that's going on in our economy.
Just bear with me, Mr. President, and listen to this. I know you're familiar with Wharton, but unsolicited, this is what Jeremy Siegel said yesterday about the numbers.
I'm not going to let the BLS off the hook. I mean, you talk about how to fix it. Make these questionnaires mandatory and give them a time limit to fill it out. I think the response rate's down to 60%. I mean, that's unacceptable for the most important statistic that we have. It's almost like we're sending them out, fill it out when you can. We know you like to go to the beach in the summer, so it might be a little bit late. This is just not acceptable today. We need that response rate has to go up. And when you make the biggest mistake in 50 years, why? Why wasn't there an explanation?
It's 258,000 less in 2 months. That was the biggest revision since 1968, Mr. President. So we're in the internet age. We still can't get any instant data. We're still using snail mail to get the responses back. It is the government, after all. Antiquated, no doubt, and certainly suboptimal.
We didn't get Trump's response. He'd hardly even know he was on that interview. Okay, I must have listened to a longer form one earlier. Let's see if I've got the other half of that here.
I think I got one of these surveys once in my business, and I had to fill it out like for 3 years, every year for 3 years. And it was the most nonsense questions ever. It was kind of like, well, how do you think your business is doing now? How do you think your business is going to do in 6 months? Yeah. It's like, come on, man. How is anybody supposed to know any of this?
Your feelings.
Yeah, it was all about feelings.
Yeah,
it was like, oh, geez.
No, again, these metrics are nonsense. I remember when Trump came into office the first time, my business partner, who's completely unaware about anything, goes, man, when Trump got elected, it was like someone flipped a light switch. Mm-hmm. You could feel the energy in our market. Mm-hmm. You could feel it. It was palpable. Our schedule filled up. Mm-hmm. And it was like, wow, whatever he did, whatever carrots and sticks he set up, it was instantly different.
Yeah. Either that or it's just perception equals reality and people perceive a better economy.
And I think a lot of people, well, when your economy is based in nothing, it is just your belief in it.
Yeah.
Like that is the backbone of our economy. It's the belief in it, because you're not exchanging anything of value.
Exactly.
Like, so your faith in the system is it. That's why Trump is the chief magistrate. Magistrate being a synonym for magician. He's casting the spell. Everything's great. I'm in office. Tariffs are good. I'm in office. Tariffs are great. I'm in office. Tariffs don't cause inflation. I'm in office. Don't raise your prices. That's un-American.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's casting the spell.
Well, and he promotes America really well.
Yeah, as Scott Adams says, when he talks, eagles and flags fly out of his a-hole.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so this is some more of that interview.
You know, somebody gave
they get onto the topic of redistricting.
Example in Massachusetts, I think 41% of the vote. It's a very blue state, and yet it's got 100% of Congress, 100%. So I got 41% or something, and yet 100% of Congress in Massachusetts. No, it shouldn't be that way. We should have a couple of Congress people, but we have none. And think of this: 100%. In Illinois, we have probably the dumbest of all governors. Illinois, that guy is really the business is flowing out of his state. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing that Pritzker's doing. He was the black sheep of the family. They threw him out of the business. But in Illinois...
So Trump does this masterful thing. I have to just look at this. He speaks in picture.
Yeah.
Right? So he just, in 3 seconds there, just all the dirt, all the opposition research you could do on Pritzker. He's the black sheep of the family. They threw him out of the business.
Right. That's all he has to say.
That's all he has to say. They threw him out of the business. He's the black sheep of the family. It's Chris Christie. He eats a lot. He's a big guy. All of a sudden, all you can see is fat Chris Christie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he does such a good. This is the magician in him. He's a wizard, and apparently he's well trained too. Apparently he's actually been to like hypnotist seminars and stuff like that. Like, he spent some time learning how to use this language. He's good.
What's happened is terrible what they're doing. And you notice they go to Illinois for safety, but that's all gerrymandered. California's gerrymandered. We should have many more seats in Congress in California. It's all gerrymandered. And we have an opportunity in Texas to pick up 5 seats. We have a really good governor, and we have good people in Texas. And I won Texas. I got the highest vote in the history of Texas, as you probably know. And we are entitled to 5 more seats.
I don't know. I have to check on that. And they expect...
Check it. Why don't you check it, Brian?
The fact checkers expect us to check everything you say on the phone.
I want you to check it.
But for 4 years, those fact checkers didn't fact check anything that was said about... We don't need to relitigate that.
Okay, listen to what just happened here. Listen, this is important. You talk about Mockingbird Media, who's calling the shots. So Trump makes a claim, got more votes in Texas.
Expect us to check everything you say on the phone. And they expect...
Check it. Why don't listen, 5 more seats?
I don't know. I have to check on...
He's getting talked to in his ear.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like, I don't know.
That and they expect...
Check it. Why don't you check it, Brian?
The fact checkers expect us to check everything you say on the phone.
I want you to check it.
But for 4 years, those fact checkers didn't fact check anything that was said about... We don't need to relitigate that either, but...
Joe, why don't you check it, okay? Because I'd like you to. I got the highest vote in the history of Texas, okay? By a lot.
Do you see how he was blocking the light? The studio light from his eyes when he held his hand up.
He's trying to see the people that are talking to him on
that's
his phone.
exactly what was going on.
Knock it off.
Yeah.
The fact checkers, they were quiet for 4 years. They're just stuffing the donuts in their face. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's like, Trump's a Russian stooge and MAGA is the new ISIS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, fact check?
He was definitely looking back there to like get somebody's eyes, some producer or something.
He's like,
hey man, get me out of this.
He's like, I don't know that. I don't know. You see him in his earpiece. Wow. Again, the bias in mainstream news is unbelievable. Even with the president on, they won't just let him talk.
Jeez.
It's wild. So Trump had coined a term, which is pretty good, and it's called being a panikin. But before we do that, I'm gonna play one more little clip here, and this is Trump talking about being debanked.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting that you're prepping an order that they say would punish banks that discriminate against conservatives, including potentially Bank of America. I'm going to be...
Okay. I got arrested, and within a week or two, I got a letter from Wells Fargo, where I had banked since I was 14 years old, that said, take your money out of her account. We had like 1 or 2 weeks to drain the account, and they were going to close it. And it was unilateral. No appeal, no discussion. You're considered a national security arrest. Close your account. Just like that.
Wow.
I'm just little old peasant me. And it closed my business account.
Wow.
Who technically at that moment, there's some details here that matter, but I wasn't on the business. We had 2 businesses. We were merging them. And so I was on one, he was on the other. And you know what I mean? We were in the merger.
Wow.
It was when we were leaving,
Yeah.
So I'm not on the corporate docs. I'm just an employee of at that moment. They closed his account.
Wow.
And he's like looking at me like, Taylor, we were going to add you to the business. Like, I can't reincorporate. If you have a business and you take their banking away, you don't have a business.
So you're like being depersoned.
Oh yeah. Like that was where, like, when I was doing the calculation on should we end the show or not, I was like, I can't. At that moment, I was like, I can't even receive payment. Like, there are so many things I have to worry about. Like, not just can I pay my bills, but like the actual mechanism of how do I pay my bills?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to understand, it wasn't a problem of earning money. It was a problem of how do I get the money I've earned into my possession.
Yeah, anywhere.
And then how do I get it to my mortgage?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a checking account to send a check. Right. I don't have an account to do an online bill
so your
pay.
Ability to,
and my bank doesn't accept wads of cash.
So your ability to process transactions of all kinds was just hampered.
Gone.
Yeah.
Like, your bank account is closed. What comes next? My credit cards? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so this right here, we're crafting executive order to go after the banks that go after conservatives. This isn't hyperbole.
No.
This happened. It happened to me. I sent the letter to my defense attorney at the time, and he's like, I've represented murderers that didn't have their accounts closed. He's like, even in like financial fraud cases, they just seize the money. They don't close the account. You usually can open a side account and, put some money in there, and the prosecution just kind of keeps a side eye on it. He's like, this just closing your account was like, what? Unilateral decision. You don't have a right to banking. It is a privilege, and they can yank it away from you on any second. So when they're setting up,
but when they decide to do that for political purposes, what the hell?
And again, well, it was justified as national security. Was it? Was it? You had Jeffrey Epstein banking at Chase. You had all kinds of.
Did you get classified as a terrorist?
Yeah, look at HSBC. Well, they got fined for money laundering for the cartels. They're still open. They're still accepting new account holders. Look at what Wells Fargo did. I wouldn't be surprised if they opened accounts in my name without me knowing it to create all that account fraud they did, right? That was like a big scandal with Wells Fargo. No, I'm the risk. You close your account.
Huh.
So when he says this, like when they, again, out in the zeitgeist, there's this idea that these are all novel things Trump's doing. Now Trump's attacking the universities. The universities have been attacking us for decades. Trump's going after the banks that target conservatives. Yeah, they've been doing that. Are you unaware? Oh, the IRS, they're trying to clean house over there. Are you not aware of going after the Tea Party people that were affiliated with that? Are you not aware that FinCEN, which is financial intelligence or whatever, was getting from the Treasury all the hits of MAGA? So like if you went on Amazon and put in MAGA, like you're looking for some MAGA gear or Trump, you're on a list. You're on a list to be monitored for your finances. They're tracking who's selling MAGA hats. It's that extreme.
I'll be talking to Brian Moynihan here later today. Can you tell us about that executive order? What's in that? And what do you think the banks have done?
Well, they did discriminate. I had J.P. Morgan Chase. I had hundreds of millions of dollars in cash. I could see if they want to, if they want to do something bad because you don't have any money and you defaulted and they took people out. But I'll give you me as an example. I had hundreds of millions. I had many accounts loaded up with cash. I was loaded up with cash, and they told me, "I'm sorry, sir, we can't have you. You have 20 days to get out." I said, "You got to be kidding! I've been with you for 35, 40 years." They said, and
I think right after J6 is when that happened to him. It's when it happened to us. It was an operation. It was an op.
I had all this. I didn't know what to do with it, and I went to. And you could ask him, maybe he's not going to admit it. So I said, I was informed by my people that we have to get out of Chase Manhattan. That's Jamie and J.P. Morgan Chase. So I said, I can't believe it. Well, I was never in this situation before. I've never had anything like it. And it's not like, gee, you defaulted on a loan. I could understand that. That's different. But there's no default. I mean, there's nothing but cash. I have a really great company. And then what happens is I call up Bank of America routinely because when I was president, this was after I got out, by the way, I call up Bank of America routinely, and I speak to him, and I speak to a couple of people, and they have zero interest. Brian was kissing my ass when I was president, and when I called him after I was president to deposit $1 billion plus and a lot of other things, more importantly, to open accounts, which banks always like. They like accounts because they get interest free. You know, the overnights and things, there are a lot of reasons for it, but they like accounts. I had hundreds of accounts. And he said, we can't do it. No, we can't do it. So I went to another one. I ended up going to small banks all over the place. I mean, I was putting 10 million here, 10 million there, did 5 million, 10 million, 12 million. I have them all over the place, the craziest thing. And it's lucky I even had them. They were doing me a favor. And that's because the banks discriminated against me very badly. And I was very good to the banks. I had the greatest economy in the history of our country when I was president. And by the way, our economy now will blow that away. And you see it happening. But our economy now, because we're a rich country again, because of our trade deals, we've become a rich country again. But no, they totally discriminate against, I think me maybe even more, but they discriminate against many conservatives. You know, I told that story and sitting around tables with other people that were conservative or Trump supporters. I think the word might be Trump supporters more than conservative. And I believe what they did is they went to the regulators. You know, banks are not afraid of anything but a regulator. They're regulators and their wives. They're more afraid of their wives than the regulators. But the group they're really afraid of is bank regulators. And I believe that Biden or Kamala, and I don't think they're smart enough to do it, but the people that are surrounding the beautiful Resolute desk, you know, the high IQ people that are radical left, I believe they told the banking commission, the bankers, that the banking regulators do everything you can to destroy Trump. And that's what they did. And guess what? I'm president. How did that happen?
The Wall Street Journal's
I'm president. Big issue.
Yeah.
Big issue. Again, the pendulum. It's not swinging back. They're the ones who pulled it one direction. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't see Trump shutting down people's bank accounts, but I absolutely see him punishing the banks for participating. You know, at a certain point, you have to say, no, I'm not doing that. No, I took an oath of office to the Constitution that clearly violates my perspective on the Constitution. You have to be willing to you know, as a bureaucrat, system works best when the bureaucrats say no.
And you could just imagine a scenario where he's like, you know, all this money that Nancy Pelosi made was illegitimate and we should take it away from her. I mean, you could see that happening, but it's not happening.
It's not happening. Exactly. But it would be totally legit. This is the quietest.
Yeah, so just cool your jets, peeps.
This is the quietest the chats have ever been.
Oh.
I mean, it's really quiet over there. I have no idea. For all I know, we're streaming to dead air. It's pretty quiet.
We could be.
Who knows? We're having a good time, though. Okay, so this is Trump talking about panikins. This is a good little clip here.
I see this phrase out there. I think you developed this word, panikins, right? Like no panikins. Can you define panikins for us? What is a panikin? And why should we not follow that?
Well, in some cases, they're good people that really have the best, and they want to do things. But I call them panikins because maybe they're not smart, because they're playing right into the enemy's camp. And in other cases, they really are people that panic. They can't handle pressure. And, both are sort of dangerous.
I see this phrase out there. I think you developed this word, panikin.
Turn off the auto repeat. Don't know how to do that. Panikins. I like that. Yes. So Rumble's lighting up now. Frazier, enjoying the show now that you have video. LOL. He says, yes, we're here. The Rosary Daler is still here. Awesome, guys.
Excellent.
Great. We're not talking into nothing. Former chief counsel for the Dems has a little bit something, saying that his party has dropped down a mine shaft. And keep in mind, this is a Democrat who's dyed true in the wool, blue and blue, right? And he's talking about what's happening to the Democrat Party. This is all happening simultaneously. Trump is back in power. Trump's on his revenge tour, so to speak, right? The Democrats have lost power, probably lost funding if we believe the U.S., Tim Burkhart's theory of the case, where money goes out to foreign aid and comes back to the politicians' pockets. They've probably lost a lot of funding. USAID's been shut down. Different institutions are now on lockdown. A lot of these law firms that have taken pro bono political cases have basically been put on notice, settled fees, probably not taking cases anymore. They're not going to go litigate boys and girls bathrooms and stuff like that, right? That's not going to be what they don't want to show up on Harmeet Dillon's radar for the moment. So he's making a great analysis of what's happened to the Democrat Party. and how they've gone full fascist.
And Julian Epstein, Democratic strategist. Look, Julian, left is never going to be enough left for them. They are insatiable.
Well, it's a suicide march, Harris. You know, I remember a day when Democrats insisted that the Republican Party sever ties with David Duke because of his association with the Klan. Well, now the Democrats, large parts of the Democratic Party and the left are associated with a terrorist Nazi movement masquerading as a liberation movement. And it's largely because the leadership doesn't have the spine to stand up and say, this is wrong. They just don't have the moral clarity. You know, the word Nazi, which we've heard a lot of, Harris, means the National Socialist Party, the National Socialist Workers' Party of Germany in the 1930s. The socialist movement has had a long history of anti-Semitism, and either these useful idiots who are demanding, you know, and sort of parroting the language, the rhetoric of Hamas, either don't understand the issue, or they are, in many cases, funded by foreign sources, and it is taking the party to a very dangerous place where I think it is, you know, it could mean the death of the party.
And that's the former party
Absolutely.
council.
That's exactly what's happening. I'm predicting death of the party, too.
Yeah, it's going to go the way of the Whigs.
Yep.
I think so. I think it's possible, too. It's funny because, you know, last night in the Republican Party meeting, they're like, why aren't we winning elections? And I'm like, because you're not talking to anybody. That's the only reason why. I'm like, you've missed the mark on who the base is. And this is evident because one of the leaders there says things like, well, Trump says things I don't like. I'm like, stop saying that. Stop saying that. That's why you don't know who your base is, because Trump's base and the Republican base love the things Trump says.
Yeah, and you're alienating people.
One of the weirdest things that happened when I was in prison is you're there with blacks and Mexicans mostly, right? It was only the white guys that were Democrats. The blacks love Trump, love him. Even the blacks that had BLM tattooed across their shoulders in big block letters, loved Donald Trump. He's one of them. Right? They get it. The gold building, they love it. He speaks their language. He's the American dream. The Mexicans love Trump. Why? Because they like strong masculine figures. I remember talking to one guy that he's got tattoos all over his body, his face, right? And he's walking and he speaks pretty good English, speaks Spanish. And we're walking on the track and I'm making a survey. You know, would you vote for Trump or Clinton or Kamala? And I asked this guy, and he's Mexican, and I know he's cartel, and I expect him to say Kamala. And he goes, Trump. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. I was like, why? He's like, you can't let a woman lead you. He was just like, it was black and white. Like, I don't care about, they're just going to, you know, they do them, but you can't vote for a woman. You know, it was like super clear. They really liked Trump because he wasn't Kamala Harris.
So this was a cultural thing for them.
It was a cultural thing. He wasn't, you know, Biden represented weakness to them. And what was hilarious to me was I'm like, okay. And he got deported 2 days later. And it was like, and I even asked him, I said, even going to be deported, you don't care. He's like, well, no, I mean, I'm here illegally. You know, he's like, I didn't expect anybody to keep me here if I got caught. He's like, I'm a criminal. Look at me.
He's like, it's okay. I'll be back.
The one thing about criminals is they're usually clear-eyed about who they are. Like, I got caught. You got to go to timeout. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have any remorse about it. It's part of the game. But I've thought that, and like here, I'm like, you know, there's plenty of people in the inner city of Bremerton that you just got to go talk to them. Nobody's talking to them. They're just kind of in the zeitgeist of we're supposed to vote Democrat, but I really like Trump. They don't recognize that, you know, there's a whole other party there of people that support it. So that's one of the reasons I'm there, is try to be, you know,
maybe that's why they're having a hard time getting some responses from their surveys.
Yeah. Well, you got to change the outreach. You know, that's where Trump and the MAGA base, they changed the outreach. Charlie Kirk started going to college campuses, and you started having the podcast world, and you had some penetration into former areas that, you know, the traditional Republican Party just wants to go on Fox News, talk to the church-going Sunday evangelicals, and call it good. But that's not where your real support is. And here's an example of that. This is a long call. This is Charlemagne the God, as Trump says. I can't believe they call him the God. Right?
I think he just calls himself that.
Yeah, well, it's stuck. So he took a caller and he's talking about Trump. And again, listen to Charlemagne. And for our listeners, you can just see he's pretty uninformed. I mean, yeah.
How do you rate Donald Trump's second term so far, sir? I feel like this is one of the first presidents that's actually doing what they said they was going to do. Like most people go on their campaign trail, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and they get in office and they don't do none of that. Like he's doing everything he said he was gonna do.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Like it's right for the time.
because he said on day one he was going to bring the price of groceries down. He said on day one he was going to bring inflation down. You know, he said that he won the election on one word, which was groceries. I mean, clearly people aren't feeling that relief yet in their pockets.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I work for a bank.
Okay.
But okay, so everybody know it, in your right mind, there's no way somebody could do something instantly. But in terms of what has happened within this year, it's crazy. Like it's no way that you could see the last 4 years and how garbage it was, and then look at just this first half of the year and think stuff is not going in the positive direction.
I'm holding my president accountable to the things that he said he was going to do, and those things haven't been done yet. I got you. He said he was going to bring stuff down instantly, do this instantly. Okay. He said he was going to end all the wars immediately, day one. He said he was going to do these things on day one.
Got you. So you want to be literal to that sense? Cool. I understand. You're right. He didn't do all of these things instantly, but I feel like everything is going in the right direction as planned. Did you talk about the European deal? Did you talk about stuff that is happening in the positive direction? It's like I feel like the issue, and I've never considered myself to be a Republican or anything like that. Like everybody grew up as we're supposed to be Democrats. That's how everybody grew up. I'm from Detroit, but when you get a little older, you actually look at things that happen, look at things that people saying versus what they do. I can't roll on the Democratic train no more. Like it's a bunch of people saying stuff that don't even make sense.
Well, what has he done?
On the other end,
you just got like what has he done then? Like, because the question was, how would you rate his presidency this far? So give us some things that.
So this is really tricky. Because, of course, people are going to have a hard time articulating long lists of abstract things, tariffs. He mentions the trade deal with the EU. That's a big deal. It's the biggest trade deal ever signed in the history of the planet. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much got more gross domestic product that's going to be exchanged than the entire East India Trading Company ever accomplished. You know what I'm saying? It's a big deal. And he says it. And then she's still like, well, what has he done?
Right.
He's done a lot.
Completely discounting it.
He's done a lot. But you guys are all, well, what hasn't he done? Well, he hasn't fixed, he hasn't proven the existence of God. Wars. He hasn't, he hasn't solved hunger in Papua New Guinea yet. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's plenty of things you haven't done. The list would be limitless, but there is a finite list of things he has done. And this woman doesn't know any of them either, right? Because, well, he hasn't ended the war in Ukraine. Well, there's some other people involved in that, aren't there?
Right.
And, one of the things Scott Adams points out is Trump has monetized the war in Ukraine. Great. Can't settle it. Well, now you're buying equipment and you're paying for it now. It's not on loan. It's being paid for now. He monetized it. Like if he can't win it, he monetizes it. And that's one thing Scott Adams is like, it's actually quite hilarious the way he just completely will flip something around. It's like, okay, well, if you guys want to keep doing it, but now you're going to pay. So she's stuck in that thing where she's like, well, what has he done? And unfortunately, most people can't rattle off a list either way. They might rattle off one or two things he hasn't, but then it's the things he has. And it's like, well, trade deals. And, that's actually this guy's out there working. And that actually is affecting your daily life more than whether or not the war in Ukraine ends.
Well, how about during the 4 years of Joe Biden's presidency, which parts of whatever he did improved your life?
And then shed light on it for us.
Yeah, you haven't told us nothing he's done. You said the European deal. The crazy thing about the European deal, the tariff last year was like 1.5%. Now it's 15%. So how does increased tariffs help us?
Okay. So do you think that other countries should be able to tariff us, but we don't tariff nobody else? Like, that makes sense to you?
I don't even know what you're talking about. I have a low IQ.
Exactly. Okay. So other countries have been putting tariffs on our country, but we have been giving people no tariff.
Yes.
This is the first time since 30s that we're actually bringing in billions of dollars from tariffs.
Okay.
And
But you know,
I feel like that's a positive part.
but you know, we fit the bill for that. We
That
the people
affects us.
Like we the
That's
people
what
fit the bill for those
paying.
things.
No.
So do all those freaking entitled. I couldn't almost hold it back. So do all those freaking entitlement programs that you're acting like you deserve because of your blackness every day. I foot the bill for that. I foot the bill for that. I foot the bill. Charlemagne.
Dude. You're sounding like Charlemagne the retard.
When it's convenient for me, we pay. But when it's convenient for you, I pay? No, we always pay. We always pay for everything. Like, it's all a tax, bro. Oh my goodness.
That's not true either.
I can't have this conversation with you if you're not going to be honest, sir.
No. I'm being 100% honest. So if you look at the actual facts, other people are accounting for those tariffs in the sense of those businesses they're not raising our prices. They are taking the hit on them.
Okay, and what else? What else has he done?
Okay, so let's move on.
What else?
You think a whole bunch of prices have been going up?
No. You keep asking us questions. No, shed the light on what he has done. What do you rate his presidency? What is he doing for you?
Got you. Okay. So from an immigration perspective, I actually like that you put work requirements on certain social aid things, because we all know that people sit at home, people steal their EBT funds, people like.
She's like, oh, now you're coming after all people.
Now you're talking my language.
Now you're coming after all people. We all know this EBT fraud. She's like, I got 2 EBT cards in my pocket.
Baby, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You got work requirements now. That I feel like that's a positive for everything.
It hurts their demographic. That's why she's like. And he's like, I work, so now it's not money out of my pocket. Again, the entitlement programs that they're entitled to, we pay for.
Everybody should go to work. Go to work. You go to work. I go to work. Everybody should go to work, but it's people that sit at home and don't do nothing all day. All right. Sit on their porch.
Well, thank you for calling, brother.
That's your opinion. I'm not mad at it. Listen, I hope those things that he said is true. I want the president to succeed. Why wouldn't I? I'm an American. How do you rate Donald Trump's second term so far?
It's just a little teaser.
Turn him off.
Pray the Rosary Daily. DeGod was on Laura Trump's show, and he was completely uninformed, inhaling his own exhaust too much. And she goes, and this is a popular show? I know, right? I don't know. We're probably like the redneck equivalent of Charlemagne
Sure.
God. We just sit here and talk about stuff we know nothing about, right?
You can call me whatever you want.
I prefer peasant.
Whatever.
So this is a clip from that Tucker Carlson podcast that I encourage
English
everybody to
courts.
listen to.
What is actually a bank?
This right here, this 1 minute and 8 second clip holds the key to 90% of what's wrong.
Okay.
90% of what's wrong economically, politically, in our judicial system. This is like the genesis of all of it. This is the foundation of the house of cards. It's the money. It's the money.
I watched this video the other day and it freaked me out.
Made you sick.
Yeah.
Okay. So it matters what he's saying here. So it's 1 minute 8. I'm going to play it. We'll see if you pick up on it.
Don't take deposits and banks don't lend money. And there's rulings in English courts. What is actually a bank deposit? Well, that is to confuse people. At law, there's no such thing as a bank deposit. It's simply a loan. Well, hang on. A deposit is a loan? Yes, it's a loan we give to the bank. We give credit to the bank when we do what is called deposit our money. Yes, and that is the legal status. So it's like the tables are turned. So banks don't take deposits. We lend to them.
The tables have turned. Over at 1776 Live, I talk exhaustively about how we are the creditor. This is how it works. You loan the bank the money. You're the creditor.
And the deposit, the bank deposit at law actually is not privileged. But surely banks lend money? No. Banks are in the business of purchasing securities. And when you sign that loan contract, that's an IOU, a debt.
So when you go to buy a house, you fill out a promissory note. You created a security. You created a loan and you give it to the bank and they buy that security from you. You've loaned them that asset and they then buy it from you. You created the money to buy the very house you're trying to buy. When you get a credit card, you fill out a loan application. That is a security. That is creating a negotiable instrument that it turns into a bond with a Committee on Uniform Security Identification Procedure number called a QSIP. You create the money at the time you apply for it or you fill out the promissory note. And then the bank will then put it in your account as new digits, and then they turn around and lend it back to you at a mortgage. Why would you sign a promissory note and a mortgage? And a loan, you know what I'm saying? That's what's going on there.
Instrument that you've issued and the bank will buy it. That's what's happening. It can sell it. Well, exactly. It can sell it. And also you will point out, oh, hang on, fine. These are details. This says I will get money. I'm borrowing money. So please give me the money. I don't care about the details. And the banker will say, you'll find this in your account with us. They may carelessly say, we've transferred it to your account, which is incorrect because no transfer happens. Your account will be credited.
We are the creditor. That misunderstanding of how money works and where money's coming from is the bane of all of our existence. Like, it seeps into everything.
My entire life until last week, I misunderstood this. And I think that almost every American understands this the same way that I did.
We have this complete misunderstanding about what it means to be the debtor and saving. And, you know, it's like we don't comprehend our real role. We say things like money is based on the good faith and credit of the American people. The credit, credit. That means we're the creditor. Tax payment is a payment. What's a payment? A payment is from the debtor to the creditor. So when the IRS sends you a bill and it says the word payment, go look up the dictionary. It's from the debtor to the creditor. The IRS is the debtor and you're the creditor. They're sending you a dividend payment as the creditor, aka the people, but we completely don't even understand the nature of money at all. They're keeping a ledger. It's like made up and it's not accounted for appropriately. I mean, I've used examples of, you know, you go buy a house and you create this new asset, and sure, they fronted the money, they created the digits prematurely, but it's all collateralized by this future business plan, you know, construction loan kind of thing. Assets made, you go to sell the house, next person comes in and they create a new $100,000. They sell the house, someone creates a new $100,000. So that same $100,000 asset just compounds over and over every time. The value never changed, but the amount of currency in circulation grows exponentially.
Yes.
And then you put it.
This is the revelation to me. This is the new information that was a new understanding to me when I first watched this video. I was like, oh my gosh. This is where a large percentage of the money expansion is happening. This is where a giant chunk of inflation is coming from.
It's the inflation.
Yeah, and it's and it's hidden from us. And that's why when they report inflation numbers, it's like, man, this just doesn't square with what I'm feeling.
It doesn't square with national debt.
Yes.
That's just the government's credit card.
Right.
Your credit card. And then here's the thing. You go put money in the bank. When I go make a $1 deposit in the bank, I've lent them $1. It's my money. I loaned it to them. And then they can do fractional reserve. So they can expand it by 10 times. So $1 in the bank is actually worth 10 cents because they've done 10 times expansion on it. $1 in my pocket's $1. $1 in the bank is 10 cents. You know, as far as because it gets instantly deflated. And if you go look at like that Silicon Bank a couple years ago, they'd expanded that to like 263, not 10, 263. Like, whoa. Like, I thought banks are supposed to get shut down to like $11 and $12.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they got to 263. Well, why is that? Well, because the bank president also sat on the Central Bank, California Central Bank, San Francisco Federal Reserve Board. He was his own regulator. Right. That's how, you know what I mean? But it's like, how many other banks are out there floating at 100 or 50?
Right.
You know, so $1 in your pocket, take your money out of the banks.
And, well, hold on. I mean, this is
I don't care. Return to a normal value system.
Hold on. This is exactly why it freaked me out, because that would be people's normal inclination. Like, hey, we need to take our money out. Well, that's exactly what would break our entire
Do it anyways.
Break our entire economy.
Do it anyways. You got to end the slave trade at some point. You got to end the slave trade at some point. Do it anyways.
It's going to be so painful.
Do the right thing. Return to real value. Return to real money. Do the right thing. Be the first one out. Don't be the last one out. Those are the idiots. The idiots are the last ones out. when the taxi driver's giving investment advice, that investment's no longer viable.
And I will admit that you are correct. I will admit that you have the right.
Yeah, be the first one out. Don't be the last one out. Get your money out now.
Yeah.
The house of cards has to fall. It's not real. It's not based in anything.
Yeah.
It can't go on. It can't be remonetized. They're never going to return gold and silver to us. It's over.
And the only reason I say don't do it is because I'm afraid of the
that you'll be last. You'll be the last one out. That's what you're.
Yeah. Well, no. It's not because I don't want to be the last one out. It's because I know that it's going to break the system, and I'm afraid of what is on the other side of a broken system for our country. It's just going to be really painful.
But the thing is it's you can have a hard landing or a soft landing. You determine your landing. So
I know this is like Great Depression type stuff.
Oh, this is more than that. This is like Return to the Stone Age type stuff. Like you talk about these AI data centers, like good luck.
Yeah. And that's why I was completely freaked out when I saw this video. I was like, oh my gosh.
When you understand that. But there's an out. 1776 Live. This is all we talk about. It's about moving into the private, getting out of the liability of the public. So anyways, this man, this old gentleman right here, he understands the secrets of life. And you know, this is really what it's all about. And it's a challenging world when money's not real.
I'm here to remind you that the only thing keeping you from achieving all your dreams and having all of the things that you've ever wanted is probably money. That's it. Just lots of money. So if you could just get lots of money, you could probably have all that stuff that you wanted.
Yes.
Okay, just go get a bunch of money somewhere. Okay, think about that for a while. Have a super freaking awesome day and stuff. Or you could just decide to be happy anyway and don't need all that stuff. And then
It's probably keeping you from being happy is lots of money. This is what the Federal Reserve thinks. We just need lots of money, so just go get it from somewhere. It's just nowhere, right? It's what governments think.
Just add a couple of zeros.
Why don't we just print our own? This money system is what causes subjugation around the world. You go to like South Africa, developing country, they want to get a loan, so they go to Barclays in England and they give Barclays the money to lend back to themselves. Why don't you just print it? Why don't you just make it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Barclays got a lot of people believe
they've got prestige.
Barclays has money to lend.
Oh,
it's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have any money to lend. It's gonna literally monetize what you agree to pay them.
Right.
So just why don't you just print it yourself? Like the guy in the things like the whole idea of the World Bank and IMF when they're not loaning anything and they're just monetizing securities like, promissory notes. Why would a country sign a promissory note to a foreign country? And then you get debt collateralization, you get foreclosures on assets. Like, it's stupid. It's retarded.
Yep.
The hardest thing to do is to explain to somebody the glaringly evident that everybody has decided not to see. Ayn Rand said that. And that's this. It's like, there's no money. There's no gold or silver. What is the money? Well, it's your belief. Okay, so I'm lending my belief to the system, so I'm the creditor there too. I'm always the creditor. As a creditor, if anybody knows banking, you got all the power. All the power. How do you step into that power? Pretty interesting stuff. Okay, we're going to jump over to private, and we're going to listen to Catherine Austin Fitz, who is another expert on this. So we're going to play the outro, and then we're going to come back into private, and we'll see you guys over there. And yes, Weed and Boys, this guy, we love Poppy Trump, and this man ain't lying. Money would make things a lot easier. Yes, it would. No, he's got it nailed. So we're going to play the outro. Then we're going to be on the private side of Rumble. If you're a Rumble Premium subscriber, you can join us there. See you in just a minute.
Ma'am, sorry. What knight lives in that castle over there? I'm 37. What? I'm 37. I'm not old. Well, I can't just call you man. You could say Dennis. I didn't know you were called Dennis.
Well, you didn't bother to find out, did you?
I did say sorry about the old woman, but from behind you looked...
What I object to is you automatically treat me like an inferior.
Well, I am king.
Oh, king, eh? Very nice. And how'd you get that, eh? By exploiting the workers. By hanging on to outdated imperialist dogma which perpetuates the economic and social differences in our society. If there's ever going to be any progress...
Dennis, there's some lovely filth down here. Oh, how'd you do?
How do you do, good lady? I am Arthur, King of the Britons. Whose castle is that?
King of the who?
The Britons.
Who are the Britons?
Well, we all are. We are all Britons. And I am your king.
I didn't know we had a king. I thought we were an autonomous collective.
You're fooling yourself. We're living in a dictatorship. A self-perpetuating autocracy in which the working classes...
Oh, there you go, bringing class into it again.
Well, that's what it's all about. If only people would...
Please, good people. I am in haste. Who lives in that castle?
No one lives there.
Then who is your lord?
We don't have a lord.
What?
I told you. We're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week.
Yes.
But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting.
Yes, I see.
By a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs.
Be quiet.
But by a 2/3 majority in the case of more...
Be quiet. I order you to be quiet.
Order, who does he think he is?
I am your king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
You don't vote for kings.
Well, how'd you become king, then?
The Lady of the Lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur from the bosom of the water, signifying by divine providence that I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. That is why I'm your king.
Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony.
Be quiet!
Oh, but you can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tart threw a sword at you.
Shut up!
I mean, if I went round saying I was an emperor, just because some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they'd put me away.
Shut up! Will you shut up?
Ah, now we see the violence inherent in the system.
Shut up!
Oh, come and see the violence inherent in the system. Help, help, I'm being repressed.
Bloody peasant!
Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh? That's what I'm on about. Do you see him repressing me?